Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Level Up Cleveland as we begin season 3 here with Hannah Crandall of Truss.
Hey, hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's right. She was the only one that could make it for Truss. The other guys kind of bailed on her. She said she was a little sad, so we said, you know what, Hannah, we're going to make this all about you today.
Yeah, their loss. Their loss. That's fine.
From Truss, who couldn't make it today, I'm going to go over the guys real quick so that they all get at least mentioned.
That's fine. We can mention them.
On guitar is Eric Kennedy, and from an earlier episode, we had Lillier on here. He also plays guitar for them.
He does, yep.
And on drums, we have Holden Shalik. And on bass guitar, Thomas Ratstatter.
Yep.
Guys couldn't be here. We'll get you guys back on eventually. I'm sure down the road one time
Absolutely.
we'll be able to get all the guys on here and stuff.
Everyone decided to go out of town this weekend on me. So
That's all right, though, right? I mean, like, once in a while, they got to get out, too, and do their thing. But at least you're representing. You're here to represent.
I'm here to represent all four of us.
So you guys are a very interesting band. We've been wanting to get you guys on here actually for a while. We've had our eye on you guys for a while. You guys have like a strange hint of success that's kind of like at least I'm starting to see like splashes of you guys all over the place and places where you're starting to see like this is an up and coming band. This is more than just somebody's just playing in a band locally. You guys are getting some attention. You guys are getting write-ups in some newspapers. You guys were in the Medina newspaper. Yeah, I live in Medina, so awesome. I was like, oh, look, these guys are on the front page. Pretty wild stuff. I mean, like, you know, you guys are your very first single. We'll get into that. That's done very well on the platforms.
Very well. Very, very well.
Yeah, so you guys are really kind of got some momentum going in right now. One of the things that I also noticed about you guys is that you're another one of the bands that's kind of like been affected by the pandemic situation too.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll get into that. I want to get into that, too, because you guys started off, you guys went to Ohio State together, that whole thing. Let's get into that first, because that's kind of what starts it all off.
Absolutely. So Holden and Eric and I have actually been playing together for, 7, 8 years, maybe longer than that. Holden and I have known each other since we were in kindergarten. We're both 25 now.
What?
We went to grade school together, and then Eric and Holden went to high school together.
Where was
that's
this at?
How all the pieces meshed. Holden and I went to school at St. Albert in North Royalton.
Oh, really?
And then Holden and Eric went to St. Ignatius together. Oh. So they're both little Ignatius boys. That's where they met. So Holden and I actually had a band in high school. We competed in the high school rock-off, the Tri-C High School rock-off at the House of Blues, and we did that all through high school, and he and I just had different projects throughout high school. Long story short, we went off to college. We went to different schools. Thing just didn't really work out, and the band that we had at the time kind of fell apart. Along the way, Holden introduced Eric into the mix, who Eric's primary instrument is actually bass. A lot of people don't know that about him since he's playing guitar in both our group and in Lillier. That's kind of how he's represented in the local community, but he is primarily a bass player, and he was primarily our bass player when we first met him. Oh. I actually went to Kent State my first couple years, and I ended up transferring to Ohio State, which was where Holden and Eric both went. Oh. The pieces kind of fell into place for us to start a group down in Ohio State with the three of us there. And we were playing original music, and we thought, Eric already knows all of these. He's got the solos down. He's our main songwriter. Let's switch him over to guitar and try and find a bass player. And the rest is kind of history. We met Thomas in college. He became our bassist. Eric shifted over to guitar, and that group just stayed together throughout college. So we were primarily a Columbus band. That's where Truss got our start. That's where we released our first single. Oh. We played the frat parties and the bar gigs on the weekends, and it was a lot of fun. And then we all landed jobs back in Cleveland after graduation, which that worked out really well for the four of us. We all came back to Cleveland.
So you all stayed together.
We did. We all stayed together, but we graduated 2 months before the pandemic shut down everything. So, just like everybody else, we lost the chance to play and promote ourselves here. And it was really hard because nobody knew that we were making that shift from Columbus to Cleveland. And we couldn't really do anything to help promote ourselves because nobody was playing. And on top of that, Holden actually went to get his master's degree. So for about a year there, on top of the pandemic, Holden was still in Columbus, and the three of us were in Cleveland.
Odd, his name is Holden.
His name is Holden.
And he was making you guys Holden.
He sure was. He sure was. And it was hard because, not only are we not playing out and we're not promoting ourselves because nobody is, but we're not getting together to practice. We're not getting together to write because we can't, because he's in Columbus and there's a pandemic.
So
we really lost that year. I feel like more so than a lot of bands, because we couldn't even do stuff on the back burner. We couldn't even write. We couldn't get together. So it was really hard.
Now, when that's going on, though, you guys individually, are you doing anything like to get ready for when you guys do get back together at that point?
So we basically took the time of the pandemic to do something that's very valuable. Eric and Holden actually got really into the production side of recording, and they ended up producing our album entirely. We recorded our first album in our apartments. We did it all DIY, all ourselves. So during the pandemic, the two of them kind of started digging into the nitty gritty of recording. We did some YouTube videos of covers and just little ways to, get familiar with recording. And by the end of it, Eric primarily produced the album front to back.
Oh, no kidding.
So, and he learned all of those, he self-taught himself how to do all that stuff during that downtime during the pandemic. So, so there was still a lot going on behind the scenes, but nobody really knew we were here yet.
Now, when you guys recorded your singles before you put out the album, you guys already had some singles recorded, right? I mean, you guys came out with...
we had Mayhem.
Mayhem was your first single, right?
Mayhem was our first single.
Where did you record that at now?
So the story behind recording Mayhem is kind of funny. We recorded that totally on a whim. We actually had a friend in college who used us as like a final project he needed to record. He was working with a professor trying to, get a hand on mixing. And his name was Cooper Towns, good friend of ours. And, he just liked our band. He liked the song. And we walked into the studio one day and he said, "You guys want to record a track?" And we actually only picked Mayhem because at the time it had been the one we were playing the longest. It was the easiest song for us to just do on the spot. So we did. We all on the spot walked in there, did one take of Mayhem and handed it off to him. Eric played the bass on that track because we didn't have a bassist at the time. And the rest is history. I mean, it did so well. We have over 500,000 streams on Spotify alone on that track.
That's crazy.
Which is unbelievable. We just got lucky. It got picked up by the algorithm. The right people put it on their playlists, and it kind of took off from there. But yeah, recording Mayhem was not a planned thing. It just kind of happened and worked out for us, and then people loved the track.
I think this happens a lot with a lot of bands. I know Pat and I, we write songs here and there, and we used to write a lot more back in the day, but it seems like the easiest stuff it seems like the more effortless stuff as a band when you're writing, for whatever reason, ends up being your best stuff and most popular stuff.
Yeah.
Like some stuff that you labor over, and they never seem to get the reception that the ones that just seem to just flow right out. Why do you think that is? What do you think?
I don't know. There's just something about, I almost think that it's just kind of a mindset. Like, I know for me personally, if we're playing a song live that I'm like, oh man, I got all these big high notes, I'm feeling a little on edge, like maybe that
anxiety
will
or something
show in my performance. Whereas a song like Mayhem, vocally, that's the easiest Truss song there is. I mean, it's just, it's very, very simple. And so maybe that also shows in my performance. It's just kind of, I'm coasting through this one. And I think that's the same way with instruments. If you're playing power chords, if you're playing a solo, maybe that shows in your performance and people can kind of latch on to that feeling.
Speaking of that, because you're not just a singer, you can actually speak from experience on that because you play bass also.
I do, yes. I recently joined a cover band called Medusa. We're an all-female cover band local to Cleveland. And I decided that I wanted to play an instrument, so I taught myself how to play bass during the pandemic. I'm very hardcore beginner, but I'm playing 3-4 hour sets with them, so I must be doing something right. And we actually have a gig at Bullfrogs tonight in North Ridgeville, and then you can catch us again in December at C-Bars. So
where's it? The December one? Where will that? Was C-Bars? Where's that at?
C-Bars. It's in Euclid on Euclid Avenue.
Oh.
So we have a handful of gigs coming up with them. I do not handle the booking for that band, so I kind of just read my texts and it tells me where I'm going.
What kind of music are you guys doing?
Oh my gosh, we're doing everything from Fleetwood Mac to Black Sabbath. We just do all of like the classic rock covers that we can possibly think of. We toss in a couple current hits, so like we play some Måneskin, some Blink-182, but we're just a feel-good cover band. We want people to be dancing, when we're playing. And we've only played 4 gigs so far, so we're relatively new, but all members of this band are in multiple other projects. So this is a little super group of, a girl cover band in Cleveland.
And that's how it starts sometimes, and then all of a sudden that's the one that takes off, and then all of a sudden you're like, I got to put all my attention into this project.
So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and I get kind of the best of both worlds. I'm fronting a band. I'm the vocalist, and I'm fronting it, and I have to, be talking to the crowd and be on my game. And my other band, I get to kind of take the back seat and just play bass, and it's really cool. I get to do both parts.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So before you guys even get into the college thing, you were explaining how there was, the relationships that were made in high school and elementary school in some cases and stuff like that. Are you guys all into music at that point also? I mean, are you also like already thinking about what's going to happen in the future? So when you went to college, a lot of that stuff was already kind of like, or was it more of a surprise for you when you got to college? You're like, wow, this is really working out.
Well, so Holden, like I said, I've known him since we were 5 years old. The first time I ever saw Holden play drums was in the 3rd grade. His band played at our school dance, and
cool.
I'll never forget it. I thought it was the coolest thing. So he's been playing drums for as long as I can remember. He might have been playing earlier than the 3rd grade. I don't know. That's the first time I remember seeing him play. Eric has also been playing since he was, I don't know, maybe 10. He picked up bass around that age. So I, on the other hand, did not start really singing until high school. I liked to sing in my room when I was little, but I was really shy and pretty awkward, and I didn't want to sing in front of people. And the only reason I actually got involved in the band scene is because my dad and Holden's dad used to be really close friends. I went with my dad to drop something off at Holden's house when I was in high school, maybe freshman. And they were having a band practice, and their singer was out sick.
Oh,
and they talked me into just sitting in at a practice. They were like, oh, I was singing. They were covering 1,000 Miles, that Vanessa Carlton song that's in White Chicks. They were playing that, and a guy was trying to sing it at practice. And I was like, so, they asked me. I was, humming it on the sidelines, just kind of watching their practice. And they were like, oh, you know it. Why didn't you sing? I'm like, I don't sing in front of people. I don't do that. Obviously, I do that because they forced me into it. And then a couple weeks later, I got a phone call asking for me to be a backup vocalist for that band that I had sat in at a practice with. And then from there, it just, we started a whole new project, and I started fronting the band. So we all kind of came in different ways. Holden and Eric had been playing music since they were younger. Me, I got forced into it, and I'm very glad that I did.
Yeah, that's cool. And let this be a lesson to people. Don't take off a day of practice with your band, because that could be your last day. All of a sudden somebody pops in, they can sing, and then you're out.
That's it. That's it.
So you're saying you didn't even know you could, did you know you could sing? Was it one of them things?
I could sing, but I didn't know that I could sing rock music. I didn't know that I could sing on a stage. I was singing like church hymns and choir when I was little, and that was kind of the extent of it. I was singing Hannah Montana in my bedroom when I was little.
Yeah, that was big.
And I loved singing, and I thought, oh, I'm going to be a singer when I grew up. But I was so shy and
stage fright and all that kind of thing.
I just never pictured myself doing what I'm doing now.
How do you get through it? So how do you break that? When do you think all of a sudden your whole attitude about getting out there becomes more exciting and less fear?
As cliche as it sounds, you got to just stop giving a shit. You just got to go up there and do it. If you got to close your eyes to make it through it, do that. If you need to kind of separate yourself from the room, do it. If you need to picture people in their underwear, do it. For me, I know the first time that I ever sang in front of a crowd, I was 13, and it was because my choir teacher at the time forced me to do a solo in front of my school, and I was mortified. But I'm so glad that she did that, because after you do it once, you realize it's not that big of a deal. And at the end of the day, a lot of people don't have the balls to be in your position anyways. So if you're up there, nobody's judging you like you think you are.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I look
you just got to get over it. You just do.
I look at it like I think everybody thinks like me. Right? Not exactly, but as far as this kind of stuff goes, like when you're up there mortified, like you said, some people are mortified. You got to realize, when someone is up there and you're watching them, everyone thinks like you are when you're watching somebody. Right. It's
Absolutely.
No different.
Yeah.
It's no different. No, but there's no people. I'm sure there are certain people out there who are just assholes. But that's another thing you got to get.
There's few.
Yeah, you got to get used to that too.
Yeah.
One thing about this whole thing you guys do, not everybody loves you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to realize that, right? No matter who you are,
you're not going to please everybody.
Once you're in that spotlight, you're going to have your naysayers and people who most of them are just haters in general. But that's just they're out there. You know what I mean? You got to just deal with all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So was this one of them things where as you're moving into this, did you right away feel like once you got past that point where stage fright was kind of gone, were you like it just immediately were you kind of that person?
Yeah. So my dad loves public speaking, and I grew up just with him kind of cramming that down my throat of like public speaking.
What do you mean by that? Like what?
So he's a financial advisor. That's what he just every event, he's the guy at the podium, everything. He's always talking in front of big crowds.
Preparing speeches and stuff like that.
Always. And so I grew up around that just with him, and he's just a very outgoing guy. And I started taking classes in college that were kind of revolving around public speaking. Even in high school, I did that. And I realized I loved public speaking. I thought it was fun. I didn't get nervous. I always did best when I went on my feet and I didn't sit there and write down this speech and try to memorize every word. I just went up there and I thought, if I can do this for a class, I can do it on stage. What's the difference? And so for me, it was like kind of just a click of this isn't that bad. This is all in my head. People are not looking at me, judging me, and it's not bad and it's a lot of fun. And like I said, a lot of people wouldn't have the guts to get up there and do it anyways. So, you got to pat yourself on the back and just make it work. And once you get over the stage fright that so many people have, it's just a blast. And you meet so many cool people through doing this.
Now, you got to be honest about this, though. Part of this whole thing is the fact that you're a highly talented person, right?
I'd like to think so.
Well, but you are. I mean, you're a fantastic singer.
Thank you.
When you're up there singing, it is nice that you're going to get a good response in general because of the fact that you are a good singer.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not even a borderline question,
Thank
that
you
kind of
very
thing. So you're the success of the whole thing. Not to mention, you get into a band, you record a song, and the very first song that you guys record,
it was a good. We were off to a good start. It was definitely a little bit of a
confidence booster. Yeah, it's a confidence.
It absolutely was.
And there's nothing like confidence. Once you've got that confidence, you feel like you can, and you can attack anything at that point. You're ready to go. You can't wait till the next thing, right? Yeah. Did you guys all? Not to change the subject real quick, but when you guys you said you all got jobs in Cleveland. Were all the jobs related to what you guys mastered or got your degrees in college? Or
I'm the only one that it wasn't. All three of my guys are engineers. That's actually play on the name. But I actually have a psychology degree. I'm not doing anything with it. The pandemic kind of screwed up my plans for getting my master's and everything in between. And so, made ends meet, found a different job, and things are good.
Good.
But yeah, all three of my guys they have engineering degrees and they're all engineers. That's actually how we met Thomas, is because him and Eric work for the same company. So they were in the same internship program together in college. They had classes that overlapped. So that was how he came into the mix.
It's amazing how this happened.
Yeah.
Really.
It's really cool.
Yeah, because it's not as if you guys ever, and no part of this story really is we were out trying to form a band.
No, it just kind of...
Yes.
It didn't... I don't want to say it fell into our lap, but in a way it kind of did.
It kind of formed itself.
Thomas came in at the perfect time. Eric knew Holden. I knew Holden. Everything just kind of fell together. And, these three guys are some of my best friends. We get along so well. Love being around them, and just our personalities mesh really well. Our stage personalities mesh really well. So the pieces just fell into place for us, definitely.
Yeah. That is awesome. So... what about now? Like, what situation are you guys in right now? You guys just put out the album not long ago at all.
Only a couple months ago, July 16th.
Yeah, and it's a very good album. Very good album. Actually, everything you guys have out is very good. Even when you guys did the Cleveland Versus thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we put out a little video for that, and Pat and I used to be in a band where we played Let There Be Rock.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It was one of the funnest songs I ever did in my life. One of my favorite cover tunes that we ever did. And you guys rocked that tune.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hell yes.
I appreciate it.
All the stuff that you guys have out already, actually, how are you guys feeling about that? Like, let me ask you first about that. Let me ask you about Cleveland Versus. So the Cleveland Versus thing, I am curious about that. There's a couple things I haven't really talked to anybody about it yet that's been involved in it. How did you guys get that song? Did you guys, did they decide? Did you get to decide?
I got to decide. So basically, Cleveland Versus, put out, I think it was on some type of social media, just looking for bands to be involved in this project. I don't know if I liked a post or whatever. Either way, we got to talking. Truss got involved. They said, here's the artist, pick your song. But, you had to pick your song before anyone else picked the song to make sure no one was doing the same thing. I kind of dropped the ball, forgot to pick the song a little bit, and then all the songs that we wanted to do were already picked. And I said, you know what? How about Let There Be Rock? Nobody's picked that yet. It's a killer tune. It's got to be on here. I mean, no, you can't not include this one. And the guys were like, yeah, sure, whatever. We'll learn anything. We'll do whatever. All right. So I picked it. And Eric was a huge AC/DC fan growing up, still is. That was one of his first favorite bands, as I'm sure it is for a lot of people. So he was really excited. He kind of took the reins on that, did the rendition of it pretty much entirely on his own. And we actually recorded it the day before it was due in our apartments and shipped it off. And I think it turned out pretty cool.
Yeah, he made some little subtle changes in that song too that really kind of bring it a little more up to date and kind of enhance it a little bit. It actually makes it a little more heavier rocking song, which is unbelievable. We put our own
little sprinkles on it. There's some fills in there that are just classic Holden things and some notes that I chose, and you can definitely tell that it's Truss. We put our breakdown in there, which breakdowns are our favorite thing in the world if you listen to any of our songs. So we definitely made it our own.
I think a third part to every song is you got to have a breakdown. You got to have something that takes you off
the energy up.
Back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's the main writer? How do you guys go about writing songs? And how does that process work?
Eric is our primary songwriter, for sure. Reset My Head, the title track on the album, he wrote front to back from everything with the music to the lyrics, everything. I love the story of how he came up with that. It was about 3 a.m, and he just had clicked in his head, woke up, got it all written down. The next day, showed it to all of us. We all loved it front to back, and it stuck the way that it was. I changed some little melody things here and there, but nothing major. And then that ended up being the title track because it's one of our favorites of our songs. Yeah. But for every other song we've written, it's everyone puts in their own piece. So Eric will primarily come to us, like I said, he's our main songwriter. He'll start off with a riff or just an idea, and we'll kind of build off of what he's brought to the table a lot of the time. Holden will put together his own drum part. Thomas will put in his bass line. I'll change up the melody. Besides Reset, I've written all the lyrics for our songs, so I handle the lyrical content for all of our songs. The writing process for Truss is sometimes difficult, but I think it makes our songs sound the way that they are, because Eric will come to us with the riff, and Holden kind of forces him to repackage everything. He'll say, oh, you should have tried this instead of this, and we'll spend a lot of time on just these little nitty-gritty things because Holden will bring that to the table. And sometimes it gets frustrating, and sometimes it takes us a long time to finish one song. Yeah. But I think all of the songs turn out the way that they do because each one of us will kind of nitpick and change these little things, and you can tell that it's all 4 of us contributing to every song. So it's a group process, as I'm sure a lot of bands are. It starts off with Eric, and then all of us kind of feed off of that.
So you're just improving the song. I mean, you guys have a bass, and then you're just constantly making improvements.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, we're gonna take a break.
All right, cool.
There. When we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more with Hannah.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Hi guys, this is Tyrone. This is Jen and Ty's mom and pop stops. This is John. John has Johnny's right here in the corner of, what is that, 44 and 87, right?
Yep.
Yes. And you want to tell them a little bit about it, John?
Yeah, pretty much you can come get anything you want, breakfast all day, open 6 days a week, closed on Sundays. Menu's ginormous. So.
The menu is definitely
ginormous.
From
I like
chicken to pizza to sausage and eggs. I come here for breakfast now and again, and whenever I can get up this way, and the breakfast is just humongous. Another thing, I didn't know he had ribs, and so I got those and I ate those on the way to Arizona. I did know he had a Reuben. He had made me a Reuben. And he even got us for Jen ice cream that was for diabetics. So we've been around the block up here a couple of times. The burgers are enormous and excellent beef, excellent flavor. One of the things I like about coming here is that it's a family-owned restaurant. And we try to do 90% family-owned. They have a big patio out front, so if you don't want to sit inside, you can sit out on the patio. In the summertime, it's banging. Johnny, can we get one of your menus and do it?
Actually, at the printers right now.
Oh, okay.
Picking them up later.
And they have hand-dipped ice cream. That's one of the specialties here. Ample parking, and it's not a gravel parking lot. That makes a big difference to me. I like pavements. I do.
Plenty of parking.
Plenty of parking. And it's not a bad view from here. Jen, can you pan around? I mean, we're in the country. So that's one of the things I like about here. We are definitely in the country. It's a rather countrified place. Their pizza is outstanding. The spaghetti. When you said it meant, yeah, I'm the chicken parm guy here, and even their chicken tenders are fantastic. And then let's walk over here, Jen. I'm going to take a walk. Look in there. Just look right there. There's chicken. There's hot dogs, pretzels, fries. I don't know what's in the aluminum thing.
Tamales.
Tamales?
All right.
Oh, wow.
And over here we have pizzas. You can buy by the slice, or you can buy pizzas. You can buy rolls, strombolis. There's pie. I'll come over here and let's get this ice cream, Jen. We have the hand-dipped ice cream, and it is just amazing. Look over there,
Yeah, there's only half the flavors because the freezer in the back. More tomorrow.
And we are back, everybody, with Hannah Crandall from Truss.
Ready. Let's roll.
I want to talk a little bit more about the writing process
Okay.
with you guys, just because I think it's an interesting situation. You mentioned you got 3 engineers in the band, and we're as I'm thinking about that, I'm like, wow, that could be a very complex situation to have 3 different. I mean, they're all engineers, but that doesn't mean they're all thinking the same. You know what I mean? And so they all have their opinions, and they all think their opinions should count, right?
Yeah. They.
What's it like, Hannah? Tell us, what's it like being Mama Bear of Truss?
Nobody gets it. Nobody understands my position. Anyways, no, they're great. They, I think because of the way that they are, our songs turn out the way that they do. You know, like Holden was big into like the prog rock in high school and college. Eric is a big grunge guy. Thomas loves metal, thrash metal. So you have 3 engineers with 3 different music tastes, primarily coming together to write. And I think it shows in our songs. We have our little technical parts. We have our breakdowns. We have, our melodies are very clean cut. They all show in the writing process. And, being in a band with 3 engineers, I laugh about it because it's just like,
yeah, right.
do you even know what I'm dealing?
It's a crazy situation.
What I'm dealing with, but it's all good things.
You said that you wrote all the lyrics for the album except for
Reset My Head. Yeah.
Reset My Head. And the one thing about Reset My Head, like to me, the title of the album is perfect for coming out of the pandemic.
It is. That was not planned, but it definitely worked out in our favor.
Yeah, I mean, like to me, that was definitely like, wow, that's exactly what everyone needs to be doing.
Absolutely.
But then you said you wrote all these lyrics. Were you always? Did you always do that kind of thing, poetry or anything like that? Was this something that you did, or is this a brand new thing that you just said, I'm going to do it?
I don't want to say I don't like poetry, but it's not my cup of tea. We'll put it that way. I just kind of started jotting down lyrics in a notebook anytime, you're driving, in the shower, taking a walk, whatever.
They
and
come
you
to
come
you.
up with a couple lines. I just used to write them down either in the notes on my phone or in, I have, a designated notebook where I write things down. And what's kind of interesting about the way that I go about my lyrics and melodies with Truss is that the lyrics come first, and there's never really a melody that I have when I write them. So what I'll do is I'll write down all these lyrics that I think these are good. I want these to be used, and then as we write, I'll find a song where I'm like, this could work. These lyrics can fit in here. I don't know how yet, but they can, and I'll kind of morph the lyrics that I've already written into the melody that I have in mind.
Do you have a bunch of lyrics already written to choose from?
I do. So I have pages of lyrics right now, just sitting there waiting. To pick and choose where things should go.
It
might be backwards, but it works for me.
Well, no, there is no. I don't think there is a way. I think there's whatever way works for you. Like I think that's the way it is.
That's what works for me. So.
Do you find that you pick a subject, a matter to write about, and then kind of like write about that, or are you the type that just comes up with a bunch of random ideas and all the lyrics just make the song great? Does that make sense?
Yes, I've done both. Some of the tracks on the album were a subject line, and then I just see what I can do. And some were just random bits and pieces of things that I found, overlapping themes in, and I put them together. I think for me personally, it works better to have just a general subject, and, if it changes along the way, it changes. But that's just an easy way for me to keep my ideas kind of in one place and keep the lyrical content, on the same topic.
Is this something you constantly have to do? Like, is this something that, is this an ongoing thing that you always find yourself, no matter what, this is just a part of life every day?
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I keep notes on my phone. Just if I'm at work and I think of something, I'll pull out my phone and I'll write it down real quick. And so,
see, I think these are the things.
You never want to forget things, so it's just the easiest way to do it.
Right. And I think these are the things that really separate bands, right? You either, a band puts out an album or puts out a single and you see a little success. It does one of two things, I think, to people. It either satisfies them, and all of a sudden, they're not really writing anymore. They're just living in this song or this album they put out, and they're just happy with it.
Right.
And then you have the other groups who they put it out, and they're already thinking about their next project. They're already thinking about what's coming next. This is done now, we'll tour on this or we'll play on this.
Got to promote this.
But we're already thinking for the next thing, And I think that's what separates a lot of these bands. It seems like if your train is going and it doesn't stop ever, you have a good chance of making some noise out there.
That's definitely where Truss is. Definitely, it's nonstop. I personally handle all of the managerial things for the band, booking, all the publicity, reaching out to places, everything in between, the merch. I handle all of it, and it never stops, ever. We're already booking well into 2023. We're already recording our next single. It just never stops. So,
it's awesome, though.
Which is awesome.
You're having fun doing all this stuff, right?
Oh, my gosh. All four of us, it's a dream to have Truss be what we are and what we do full time.
And what could be. And what it can be still.
You never know.
So you guys put out Mayhem, and then all of a sudden you guys did a thing live at Weird Music Studios.
Yes.
This was an EP that you guys released.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So you cannot find that anymore. We actually removed it from all streaming services just because we wanted full focus on the album, and there were a couple tracks that were on that EP that ended up on the album, and we just wanted the best version of those to be what people are looking at. Live at Weird Music Studios was really cool. So the situation was that Weird Music Studios in Columbus actually reached out to us and wanted us to play at their open house for the studio. And in return, they gave us a live recording. So we basically just took our whole performance and decided to put it out as an EP. It was a lot of fun. We met some cool people. A couple other bands were involved in it, like Courtney from Work out of Columbus, if you're familiar with them. They did the same thing, put out a live EP.
Oh, cool.
And then we eventually, like I said, took it off of streaming services, but not until the album came out. So it was up for a while. So
how did that do?
It did pretty well. We actually, this is kind of cool. We did a cover of Rebel Yell that was on that EP.
Cool.
It's one of the songs that we just have as our go-to cover song if we want to throw it in a set. It's one that we all really like. We've made our own. The crowd loves it. People will sing that song pretty easily. And so we decided to put that as one of our songs on the live EP. And that one did really well. And I was sad that we took that one down, but that's all Eric's fault.
Oh, really?
So, We were all in an argument about whether or not that should come down, and he ultimately won.
What was his reason? Because you guys wanted live to be more of a surprise live type thing
we wanted to clean up our Spotify profile, essentially, is what it comes down to. We wanted mayhem, great. 500,000 streams, awesome. Album. We wanted to start off, clean.
I got you.
And we didn't want a cover to also be what represents us on social media. And that cover was doing well, which is really cool. But we're not a cover project, and I don't want people to know us for a cover. So we wanted that album to be first when you go and look us up.
I understand that totally.
So it's fine. It all worked out. And I'm thinking that maybe one of these days we could actually get a studio version of it and put it up, and that would be cool.
Well, yeah, you guys did. Well, you did the AC/DC.
Yeah, so why not?
Yeah, at this point,
we can.
Well, and at this point, you guys just kind of made us think of you're going to make a name. You guys are out there now, kind of like not known for the covers. You can do whatever you want now.
We're trying.
At this point,
we're trying.
So then you guys make the album. And you record this. You guys have the luxury as a band, a rare luxury of not paying for any of these recordings. So you've got the first one. You didn't pay for that?
Yeah, we didn't pay for that. We were a final project.
Yeah, and then you don't pay for this because you're going in there, and then so he goes and learns it, so you'll never have to pay ever.
So I which now that it's all said and done, I will admit that I was wrong. This is on record, and that never even happens, but I'll admit it. I wanted to go to a studio to do the album. I thought, all four of us are in an apartment. I'm like, how are we going to pull this off? Where am I going to track my vocals? I mean, I just didn't see how this was all going to come together, and we just didn't really have anything to go off of in terms of, can we even do this? Can we make this work? This is our first album. This is our debut album. We're all pouring our heart and souls into this thing. I'm like, I want this to be the best version that it can possibly be, as did the three of them. And so I was a big doubter in the process. I did not want to do it ourselves, and the three of them fought me on it, and ultimately I'm glad that they won, because I think it is the best that it could be. And we care more about this album, these songs, more than anyone ever is going to care about them. So
Absolutely.
More time and love was put into them.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
I think it sounds great.
It does.
I couldn't be happier with it.
You guys have great sound.
Thank you.
But it does, though. That's what I was kind of getting into, is that the beauty of doing it this way is you're not on a clock.
Exactly.
You're literally don't feel pressure.
Yeah.
You can redo your vocals 100 times if you feel you need to. You can do it 20 times and pick one, and you can piece it. You can do all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And you have all the time in the world to do all this stuff. So getting the best version actually becomes easier.
It does, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm very glad that we did it this way. Like I said, I had my doubts, but I'm so happy with this album. I'm so proud of it. And it's just cool that I can say that, Holden helped with the production, and then Eric kind of steered the ship. So
the album comes out, you guys release it.
Yes.
And how are you feeling about the album? How was the reception from it and everything? How did it all go right afterwards?
So we put out the album on July 16th, so it hasn't been out for very long. And then we actually had our album release show at the Grog Shop, which was unreal. We had over 300 people there.
Wow.
So it's best night of my life. It was awesome. The Grog Shop is also my favorite venue in all of Cleveland, so I was just really happy that Kathy worked with us and gave us a Saturday night in the middle of summer. I mean, it just couldn't have gone better. We had 2 other bands on the bill for the release show, some of our closest friends. We had Dive Bombs, and then we also had Quick Mystery.
Cool.
Great bands. If you don't know who they are, definitely check them out. So the album drops, and the promo behind it, following the album it was so cool. We were in the Plain Dealer. We were in Cleveland Scene Magazine. We were in Medina Weekly.
How did that all happen? Did they contact you guys? Or?
It was a mesh of both. So I tried to make people aware that the album was being recorded back when it was being recorded, so that I would go to people and say, "Hi, I'm so and so. I'm from this group. Here's what we have coming up." And then people respond back saying that they aren't interested, essentially, and it comes down to follow up. And so I would follow up with these places. People are busy. I mean, Cleveland Scene, do you have any idea how many bands they probably have, messaging them? So I just tried to stay in contact with people. And sure enough, everyone remembered us when the album came around. And, I had interviews and people called me and emailed me, and just everyone was awesome. People were so much help. We were on the radio, the Summit radio station played
Yeah.
a ton of our tracks. Obviously, I'm Here Today Now. We had a lot of interviews set up. There was just a lot of people that helped us promote the album as soon as it dropped. We had a lot of just bigger social media accounts that would feature us, and TikTok. We had we put out like an ad. They got like 10,000 views like right out the gate. There was just a lot of good people that helped us get the word out about the album as soon as it dropped.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
It's a
very
great.
cool.
It's
It was so cool.
But you guys have quality. We talk about it on the show all the time. No matter what the talent levels are, no matter what anything is in a band, no matter all the other stuff, the only thing that matters is are the songs good.
Right.
All that matters.
I know.
And you guys
I
write
know
good
it.
songs, which is huge. I mean,
Thank you.
that's what you do. And so you're writing good songs when you have a lot of people saying, "Wow, we really like you guys. You're doing something right.
We're doing something. Haven't quite figured out what it is.
You're doing something.
We're doing
right.
something right.
So you guys put out the album, and usually when you put out an album, you guys have a conversation about what singles we're going to use, what's the best songs, da 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 da. How did that all play out?
It was pretty much unanimously agreed upon right out the gate that the title track was going to be the single, Reset My Head. I always tell people, if you're looking to catch a glimpse of our sound in one song, that's the song you should be listening to. Mayhem might be our most popular, but it's definitely not the most representative of us. We're on the heavier side, and Mayhem is not, which is fine. But Reset is on the heavier side. And, if you've ever been to a show of ours, we jump around. It's really high energy. We have our head banging, our breakdowns, and all of that is definitely captured in Reset. So I always point people to that song. And we agreed on that song being the single that we put out just for that reason alone. This is the best representation of us and this album out of all of these tracks. So that was released as our single. That was the only single that we put out prior to the album being released too. We actually had a plan to put out more than that, but on the downside of doing it yourself, time kind of got away from us, and deadlines were pushed back. So, but it all worked out. Reset did really well as a single, and all of the tracks are doing well following it. So it all worked out.
So you guys are basically a totally indie, though. You guys don't have any, DIY. You guys don't have anybody helping you guys through any of this. This is all done by you guys.
I wish we did, but we do not. Yeah.
Do you guys ever talk about maybe we need to add somebody to this whole process to help us through this a little bit?
We have.
For time, if nothing else, purposes.
We all four have full-time jobs. It's hard. We're all in multiple projects on top of our full-time jobs with Truss as the focus point for all of us. We have brought it up. I mean, it would be really nice for me to have help because I'm the one,
like an agent or a manager or just somebody that just takes care of a lot of
that. It would be awesome to have it, but
there's trust factors.
There is. And I care more than they're going to care. So,
you just feel like you're the only one that's going to get it done right.
It's kind of like when I ask my roommate to clean and then I just have to re-clean because it's like I should have just done it myself.
Right.
I'll do it better myself because I care more than you do.
Yeah, no.
So we're doing all right by ourselves. So until we're in a position where we really can't figure it out, we're DIY.
If you guys had to release a second single, which one would it be off the album?
We would all disagree on this, all of us.
Well, this is
I have
Hannah's
a favorite.
show today.
I have a favorite track on the album, and it is the last track on the album, Drown, which I was worried that it would get overlooked just being the last track, and it's actually, right behind Reset My Head on the stream
view
count
list?
right now,
Oh,
which is
nice.
really awesome. Secret information, we have a music video that's in the works for that song as well. So that's what I would have wanted to kind of put into the world, but I'm glad that we didn't because it's kind of the hidden gem at the back end of the album.
So you have all these little pure things about you like just the success of something isn't good enough. There's the journey that takes you there that's kind of just as important as the end result. You like I want it done, but I want it done this way.
Yes, I do.
And that's just from talking to you, it just seems like
Yes.
you have a plan in your head of
do.
how things
I
are
do.
supposed to go.
Doesn't always go that way, but I'm always thinking about, what's next for the band, what I can be doing or, what we need to fix. And I know the other guys are in the same boat as me. We're always thinking about what this band needs to do next and, what's in store for us.
Well, what is? Have you guys already started writing for another album, or you guys already have any songs written for that?
So we are in the midst of tracking another single, which is cool. We probably won't put that out until 2023. We don't want to compete with the holidays. We
You
made
guys
that
think
mistake.
of everything.
We made that mistake with the live EP. We put it out like right around Christmas, and I was like, nobody cares because it's Christmas. So don't compete with the holidays for streaming services. But yeah, we're writing. We are in the midst of tracking another single. I don't think we're really thinking about another album yet. We still gotta heavily promote the one that is new. So,
are you guys an album band? I mean, like, will that continue on? You're not going to be a singles band where you just constantly put out singles?
I don't want to be, personally.
You're an old school person, aren't you? Like,
yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
We all are. I don't want to be a singles band. I don't think the other guys do either. We have talked about it here and there. We're going to put out this next track as a single and just kind of feel it out, see how it plays out. Maybe we'll put out an EP instead of an LP. I don't know. Something that's a little bit shorter. But our album wasn't terribly long anyways. It was under 40 minutes. So to me, that's not some big daunting album. Like, you can listen to that front to back on a drive and, you're good.
Yeah.
So I would like to stay as an albums band. I personally love listening to albums front to back. The artists put them together in such an order, in a way where you're supposed to do that, at least for a lot of bands. I'm a big 90s grunge fan. All of my favorite bands are, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, all those guys. You can't tell me you're listening to Dirt and you're not listening to it front to back. I mean, they have transition tracks.
I'll agree with you on
that's
that.
the point, So if you're going to put out an album, that the band has thought about that. At least we have with this album. We have certain transitions throughout this album that they're there for a reason. The way the songs flow and the little, at the end of Broken Glass, you can hear glass smashing and it kind of flows into the next track. At the end of New Boy, the last note of New Boy is the first note of Drown. So we thought about that stuff. And I like to think that other bands do too.
All right. So the band is playing out. You got a pretty big gig coming up here. I want to talk about that. Tell everybody what's going on. You got some,
right.
and you're kind of planning this whole thing, right?
I am. So this whole thing, I'm a little proud. It was my idea, and I pitched a show idea to the House of Blues, and they were all about it. So on December 9th, it's going to be our last show of the year, and it's a big one. I'm putting together a all-female fronted event, all local acts. So we have 8 bands on the bill. We have Solon, Mr. Princess, Detention, Lilie, Grumpy Plum, Truss, Hello Luna, and Envoy.
Wow.
So we got a really stacked bill. We have the whole House of Blues shut down for one night only. Both the Cambridge Room and the main stage will have bands alternating the whole night. And this show is for women's rights. So I put together, an all-female fronted bill. All of the tickets are donations. The House of Blues really backed me up on this. They're helping out with the marketing. We'll have T-shirts available for one night only. We have a silent auction going on. So yeah, I'm kind of steering the ship for this event, and I'm just glad everyone's backing me up. But that'll be Truss's last show for 2022, but it is a really big one, and there's a band on the bill for everybody. We have all different genres, bands from all different places. It's going to be really cool, and I'm really excited.
So you're going to have the both stages going, but
Yes.
they won't go simultaneously. So you're doing this for setup purposes. So one can go boom,
So we actually
boom,
have
boom.
the bands alternating the whole night. So
Constant.
everyone is playing a 30 to 40 minute set, and while a band is changing over on one stage, there's a band playing on the
Right.
other.
You
So,
won't have no downtime there. So you
music all night.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What time is there a time this is going to start?
Yes, so doors open at 5. First band will play at 6:30, and it goes all night.
Wow.
So
that
eight,
could be a
8
blast.
bands. Yeah.
Wow, nice
Very
job.
excited.
And you did all this.
I did.
Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And
Thank you very
Medusa
much.
is
Medusa.
playing out.
C-Bars, December 17th. That will be our last show for the year.
So you'll be playing bass on that.
I will.
If they want to get this, if they want to get your music, they can get it on all the platforms. What if they
Yes.
want to buy it? What if they want to?
So I am slacking, but doing it. I'm trying to get on our website. We're going to have merch available. You can buy our CD, T-shirts. We have some new merch in the works. So www.trussband.com. You can find everything to purchase through there. Also, you can just come to a gig. We always have a merch table set up. We really like to meet people in person who are supporting us. So I always encourage people, if you're interested in buying something, just come out to a gig and stop at the merch table and say hi. We have all of those things available at our shows.
Sweet.
It is sweet.
Hannah, thanks for coming
Cool.
down. I
Thank
really
you for having
appreciate
me.
it. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. This was great.
This was great.
This was a great one. Great start to season 3.
Yes, we got a strong
Yes,
start.
you did great without the guys.
Who needs
You don't need. You don't even need them.
Girls rule. Who needs
It's
them?
the girls' rule. I love love it. All right, everybody, that's it for us. We'll see you guys next week.
Hello, Cleveland. I am ZM Delgado, author of the Rust Belt Rock Review at ZachoLantern.com, and this is your weekend concert calendar update. First off, Friday, the 25th, at No Class Cleveland, you're going to be able to see Sarcophagus with opening acts Plague Wielder, Blasphemous Blessings, and Goat Chamber. Up next, Saturday the 26th at the Winchester, you're going to be able to see the album release party for Cardboard Caskets with support from Firebarker, Baker's Basement, and 12A. There it is, one weekend, 2 shows. Where are you going to be this time, Cleveland? Hope to see you out there. Until next time, thank you for watching Level Up Cleveland. Rock on, Rust Belt. Back to you, Brian.
That'll be fine.